Hey guys, thanks for watching. Real quick, I got banned from TikTok, so follow me on my new TikTok account, @ComeOnManPod. That's @ComeOnManPod. I need to rebuild my TikTok account. Come and follow me. Thanks. You, my friend, are listening to Come On Man, a 3% Man podcast. I'm your host, Paul Bauer, and I am on the road to being a 3% man, just like you. If you're new to the show, this is a podcast for fellow students of Corey Wayne's book, How to Be a 3% Man, and for men who just want to be better in general. We talk about dating, gaining wealth, being happy, and using the law of attraction to get everything we want in life. All right, guys, welcome back to another awesome week of Come On Man. If you haven't done so already, please like, fave, subscribe, hit those notifications because you can't just subscribe anymore. You have to be notified. But that's cool because we have new episodes every Monday. And on Wednesdays and Fridays, I try to cut little clips from these full episodes. This week, we have a really cool guest. Her name is Tammy, but most of you guys know her as the Manicured Mom from TikTok. Now, she really blew up on TikTok. She did like a 20-part series on why men are walking away from marriage. And now she has like, I don't know, at the time of the recording, 75,000 plus followers. By the time this drops, she's probably going to have like 1 million because that's how things work these days. Anyways, we talk about all sorts of stuff. We talk about why she got into the men's rights topic. How some of these, MGTOW black pill incel guys call her a chameleon, why she's hated by feminists. It was a pretty good conversation. We also talk about her boyfriend, Dad Bod. And I will bring you that conversation right after this. Guys, you'll never believe what Duke Cannon did. I thought if I told you guys about it, you might revoke my man card. But then it hit me. This could be awesome for all of us. Duke Cannon has released a basic ass pumpkin spice latte scented bar of soap. Check it out. Now hear me out here, guys. This thing is guaranteed to bring all the basic white girls to the yard. Hell, they might even show up wearing nothing but their Ugg boots. To get yours, visit duke.comeonmanpod.com or click the link in the description to get free shipping. Using the link tells them that I sent you, so it helps me out, and you get free shipping, so it's win-win. That's duke.comeonmanpod.com or click the link in the description. It's pumpkin spice season, so use it to your advantage, men. All right, this week, we have a woman that is loved by most men in the manosphere and hated by raging feminists. You all probably know her as Manicured Mom, but I know her as Tammy. What's up, Tammy?
Hey, Paul. How are ya?
I'm doing pretty good. So before we get too far into this, I want to make sure Dad Bod is cool with this interview. I got a lot of flack about what happened with Emily King after her episode dropped because a week later, she and her boyfriend broke up and it wasn't my fault, guys. So anyway, I'm going to need written permission slip from Dad Bod.
I don't know if I can get a written one, but he's pretty on board. He's a pretty laid back man. He just kind of laughs at my antics and does absolutely nothing on social media at all. Doesn't have a Facebook, doesn't have a TikTok, doesn't have an Instagram. Okay. He does talk to read through the comments, but other than that, he's not involved in social media at all and could really care less.
Interesting. That's the complete opposite with my my current girlfriend. She actually found my TikToks like maybe, I don't know, a month into dating. She didn't say she did, but there was just like oddly specific things that she was saying when we were together that I was just like, this is just too much of a coincidence, So I actually put out a TikTok. I was like, you ever feel like, the people you're dating are like internet stalking you? And anyway, like right after that video, she sent me a text message saying, okay, I got to come clean.
Yeah, I mean, he knew I TikTok from the beginning, and I was very honest with him, I think by our second or third date that, oh, by the way, I TikTok and I do TikTok about all of my dating experiences, just so you know.
Oh,
so he's been very aware. And when I finally like put his photograph, I ask his permission. He's like, yeah, sure. I don't care.
Yeah.
Didn't care about it, no interest in it.
I purposefully don't put my girlfriend out there because I just don't want like the trolls, talking shit to her, like following her and like, giving her and harassing her. So like I do TikToks with her, but she's always like off camera.
Yeah. I can see if she's in the social media space. He isn't. So there's really no concern about that.
Got it. Okay. So your story here. So you're divorced. Now, what's interesting is when I went to go do my homework about you, and we talked about this before clicking the record button, your About Me section references a husband, but that was written in like 2019.
Yes.
So we talked about it offline. So you said that when you were writing that, you were like right in the midst of the divorce process?
We were on that verge of having a lot of issues and a lot of there was a point of no return. And it wasn't but probably a month after that I finally said, I cannot do this anymore. Like we can't save this. This is, and it's now becoming harmful to our son because of the amount of fighting and bitterness and anger that even with therapy. And I mean, I've admitted this, he made some big mistakes in our past, but I just did not have the ability to get over it. I couldn't forgive him. So therefore I had to leave because I was holding it against him and becoming a terrible person to him. And it was not fair, but I just could not, I could forgive him, but I couldn't forget it. And I was never going to trust him again.
Got it. So you're the one that filed, I take it?
Yeah, I am the one that filed.
Okay. So you're part of that 80%? No.
Part of the 80%. I mean, I filed. I put the paperwork in, but we had a very, very easy divorce. We sat down at our kitchen table. We got a babysitter for our son and we worked out all of the things. I used to have a legal background. So I wrote the entire thing up, sent it to a lawyer. A lawyer put it in legal terms and filed it in the court. And we showed up jointly together and signed it off.
It wasn't messy. Like
there was no mess whatsoever.
Yeah.
Most of our friends and family were like, that was the easiest thing that's ever happened. And it all came down to, we kind of went into this of the only thing that matters is this little boy that's in the middle of this. He comes first every decision we make. So it was all about us both ending up financially stable, us both not hating each other by the end of fighting over things. So it was like, if you want this, have it. If I want this, I'll have it. Like we didn't really have any sticking points. I mean, I had one sticking point and it was like, don't take my Jeep from me because I had finished like partially building it. I was like, don't take that.
Right. Yeah. It's funny because I think, for the most part, my marriage was, or my divorce, I should say, rather, it was, I think smoother than most, that like the only thing we really fought about was like alimony and, because I was like, you have a master's degree that I paid for. Like, why can't you get a job? Like I just really stuck in my craw that, you want to be free, but you want me to still pay for your lifestyle for the next 5 years. Like that was upsetting, but otherwise, I got 50-50 with my kids. And honestly, like, we were married for 14 years and the last half was just miserable, like I'd much rather sleep on the couch than, sleep in the same room with her. And so when she actually filed for divorce, I was more worried about like what's going to happen with the kids than anything. Otherwise, it was like a huge weight lifted off of my chest.
I felt very much the same way. Mm-hmm. I know that he did not. And I do honestly know that he would have tried to save it. But because of some of the things that occurred, I just was not going to trust him. And still to this day, I trust him with my son because he's a great father. Mm-hmm. I do not trust him with myself as far as I can throw him. And I don't think I ever will be able to.
Be able to throw him? Yeah. Well, if you lift.
Well, no, I definitely can't throw him, but I don't think I'd be able fully, like, I would never trust him with my heart. I would never let because you're kind of done on that.
No, yeah, I get that. Let me ask you a question. So over the years, I mean, I've been divorced since 2014. So I've had a lot of time to like totally get over that relationship and stuff. But in hindsight, like knowing all the stuff I know now, knowing a lot of the stuff that you talk about on TikTok, if you look back at like when you met, I don't know, how old were you when you guys got married?
We were 35. 30,
Oh.
Yep, we're 35.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. We were married for 10 years.
Okay. Yeah. See, I mean, I got married young. I was 20 when I got married. Okay. But now, like knowing what I know now, knowing the kind of person she was, like knowing how to spot like red flags and stuff like that. Cause like, I think most guys have no clue how to spot red flags. I think most guys just immediately get smitten, and then they settle down with like the first girl that is nice to them, and they have no standards. And now that I know all the stuff I know, I'm like, geez, I don't think I would have dated her more than a couple months. I don't think,
I can agree. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I was always a lead with my heart and not my head type of gal. And now that I've gotten older and a little wiser, I lead with my head and keep my heart out of it for quite a while, which kind of keeps me on the back burner with people for a little bit because I don't know where I stand. But it's like, I fully want to vet you as a person, and I cannot do that if I let my love goggles get involved. I will just go and ignore every red flag. And I still think at my age, I would do that.
I think everybody should do that. I don't care how old you are. You could be 80 years old. You need to vet people. There's a TikTok. I can't remember his name. I see him all the time. He's always like shirtless and grilling and whatever. I don't know. But he's always, he makes a really good point. The other day he said, like if you're say 30, 35, right? And, the person you're dating is roughly the same age. He's like, if you've been dating for 6 months, he's like, you've only known them for like 0.01% of your entire life. Like you don't know them. You don't know who they are. And it takes a while to, see the true colors of people. They say in some of these books that I read, they talk about like a honeymoon phase of like 6 months to a year before people start showing their true colors.
I absolutely believe that.
Yeah.
I know. And I said to my friend, I'm like, you have to understand that every relationship you could potentially go in could potentially waste a year. And I'm like, if you see red flags in the first 3 months, just run then. Just get out, because those red flags are just going to get larger if you're already seeing them in that first 3 months, because that 6 months is honeymoon phase. And if you're already bickering and arguing at that point, your whole life is going to be that. It doesn't get better. It gets worse.
Yeah, 100%. And yeah, a lot of people, they just get those like love goggles, and a lot of women, I should say, I mean, and this isn't a bad thing to women. Got to put that stipulation out there. But a lot of women see that kind of stuff in men, and they're like, I could fix that. I could work with this, and like they want to like a do-it-yourself project. And it's like, guys aren't do-it-yourself projects. This isn't this old house.
Like a stray dog, though. You just want to help them. Like, yeah. I definitely have been a project girl in my life. I definitely picked the guy that needed a little work. Yeah. I was like, oh, everything about him sweet except for these 5 things, but I can help him through those. I can do that for him. Never worked. Never.
It's so funny. It's so funny. My dad, bless his heart. Yeah, I talk about him a lot on the podcast. He's your classic blue pill type guy, like he doesn't know any better. He sort of lets my mom walk all over him, he's stuff like that. And he would always tell my brother and I, he's like, look, you guys need to develop a bad habit, like start smoking or something, because like women want to change you. That's terrible advice. Don't do that. But it's true. There's so many women that just want to fix men, and it's like, ladies, stop doing that.
Yeah. And for me, the hardest part is that I knew all of everything that I know now. I knew when I did it, and I would give my friends all the fabulous advice, and I never took my own, ever took my own. Hence why it took me to 35 to get married, because I had a lot of projects along the way.
Yeah.
That never quite worked out.
Were you more focused on your career, or would you have settled down earlier? You just never found the right guy?
So honestly, until I was in my 30s, I was on I don't know if I ever want to get married. I don't know if I even want to have kids. And honestly, when I met my ex-husband, I was still not sure I wanted to get married. And then when we got married, when he proposed, I was still on I don't know if I want kids. And it was kind of like, okay, you have to make this decision because I'm not marrying you unless you want to have children.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So it's interesting because a lot of these guys that, I follow or, that I talk with and stuff like that, they talk about hypergamy and women, their biological clocks ticking, and, they get into the 30s and they're like, oh, geez, I haven't been married yet. And now they're rushing to get married. And there are a lot of women like that. I mean, let's be honest.
There absolutely are.
But it doesn't sound like that was you. It sounds like he was sort of pushing you in that direction. You were like, I'm cool. Like I can.
Yeah. I mean, we were dating 2 years. He proposed and he wanted to be married. He wanted to get married within a year. I mean, I definitely wasn't pushing it, but I wasn't running from it either.
Okay.
But
he was pushing for it. Yeah.
I mean, I got proposed to, honestly, he proposed to me on stage at a Zach Brown show. I was double fisting beers, cheering to the crowd, completely taken by a surprise. Absolutely, positively taken by surprise.
Zach Brown, you said?
It was coming.
Oh, okay. You said is Zach Brown?
Yeah.
Okay.
They used to be a bar band that we hang out with back in the day when they were like a bar band. And he proposed to be on stage at at the Windjammer in South Carolina, a little tiny bar. Back before Zach Brown. I think it was when they first released Chicken Fried as a single.
Okay.
All at the time.
I saw them in concert here close to my house. It's like I don't go to a lot of music concerts, but I went to see them. Yeah. Yeah.
They're great. I love them.
Yeah, good stuff. Let's see, your About Me section also talks about your son, and if I'm doing the math right, he's about what, 8 now? Is that right?
He's 8.
Okay. And it's just your son that you have?
Yeah, just one.
Okay. Yeah. How's the divorce been on him?
Honestly, it was good. We have really good support. My son has some ADHD and some developmental issues. So I had his psychiatrist or psychologist on the phone, exactly how do we talk to him about this? How do we handle this? And in the beginning, although we did 50-50 custody, we just put all of our stuff aside. And it was like, if he was at dad's house and he missed mom, I was in the car and sleeping in the bed with him at dad's house because I wasn't picking him up at 11 o'clock and moving him houses. If he got sick and needed daddy, then daddy was coming over and sleeping in his bed upstairs with him. Mm-hmm. So as much as he got 2 different houses, instead of him feeling like it was this bad thing, we really sold it on, but you get 2 sets of toys and you get to this and you get to this and you get 2 vacations. And we made sure to do all of those things right after we were divorced. Like he was used to a beach vacation. So we each did one separately with them. And we kind of kept up all those things. But then on the other side, we never missed any of that stuff with each other. Like we stand beside each other and sit beside each other at every football game, every school event. It doesn't matter if we can't stand each other that day. We just put it aside and do what's best for him. Now, 2.5 years later, we have a phenomenal relationship. Like I give him dating advice. I give him advice on his dating profile. We have a great relationship and we joke around, and he's met dad bod, and
yeah,
we have a really good relationship and we co-parent well together.
That's that's nice. My ex-wife and I work pretty cordial, like in person and stuff like that. But as far as I'm concerned, she can go piss up a rope. I would not be giving, she's remarried now and stuff like that, but I would not be like, hey, how's the old dating scene going? Because I don't give a shit. Like As soon as the kids are turned 18, I'm going to be happy to never have to talk to her again. Although that's never going to happen, but
yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, we had a rough go during our marriage, but we've somehow managed to put it aside. And also when you have a child that has a little bit of extra because he's got executive functioning issues and he's severely ADHD, it takes a lot because he has sensory overloads and meltdowns. And sometimes both parents have to be on deck to get you through it.
Sure.
So you really do have to put everything aside for the interest of your child in those cases. So it takes like really putting everything aside. I mean, when we first divorced, we did 90% of our communication in a parenting app, and we were not allowed to discuss anything other than our child. No, what are you doing? No, absolutely nothing for probably about the first 6 to 9 months until one day, I think I saw him at the store and asked him how he'd been. And it was like the first real conversation, but I think it allowed both of us to put all that aside. But in the meantime, both of us were also going to pretty significant therapy because I filed for divorce from my husband less than 60 days after my father died of cancer.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
And I had lost a friend's son to suicide in the middle of that.
Oh my God.
So I had quite the trauma going on.
Quite the drama stew going. That's rough. I'm sorry for your loss on those.
Therapy, I will advocate for it every day. It is an amazing thing. I mean, right now I don't need it in my life, but I just go because I feel like it makes me a better person.
Yeah.
It holds me my own bullshit.
I like it. That's why I have a good group of like male friends. That's what I typically advocate for men. I mean, I'll tell men like, look, you know, men sometimes feel like they have to keep everything bottled up. And I say, look, you know, have a good, solid group of guy friends that you can talk to or go get a therapist, you know, definitely. So you're seeing Dad Bod now.
Yeah.
I love that name, Dad Bod. How long have you been seeing Mr. Bod?
February. So a little bit over 6. Yeah.
Nice. How did you guys meet?
On Match.com.
Get out. Okay. Yeah.
Online date.
So what was his opener?
There wasn't one. There was nothing like, I mean, he just was like, hey, how are you? And
come on.
He didn't give a lot, but I broke my cell phone in my introduction to Match. I put my profile up and didn't log in and logged back in. And I had like 175 messages. I threw my phone across the room. I was like, what? But I had gotten so much cheesy and so much just blah on there that when this guy came along that had normal looking photographs, had just a few things that we had in common to say, and just said hi with no weird awkward question or no pickup line, I just responded back, how are you?
Yeah.
And he continued the conversation, and then we found out we had a few things in common, and he took it offline, and I was not quite communicating because I had right as I was meeting him, I had been with the same company at the same job for 13 years and up and just decided I was done with corporate USA and walked away. So he texted me to see how I was. And I'm like, I quit my job today. So I'm unemployed and a single mom. So this is great. So I'm like, but he could text me like a week later. I'm like, are you okay? Do you want to go to dinner? I'm like, or do you want to go grab a drink? I'm like, sure. And the rest is history.
Okay.
Interesting.
Much. Interesting.
It took me to finally decide to pull my profile off of Match though.
How long?
10 dates in 2 months, 10 dates in a little bit over 2 months.
Okay. Did you go on other dates and stuff like at least in the beginning? I didn't.
And it really was not a not wanting to. And I'm usually a person that was, it was like, I'd been on like a first or second date with a couple people. And like every time they called me, the scheduling was weird. And then I was talking to some guy on Match still, and he said something that just crossed a line with me. That was very racial. And so I had to cut him out. And then I wasn't avidly seeking anybody else because I was like, wow, this guy really seems like a solid guy.
Mm-hmm.
And he canceled I think it was our second or our third date, which was super impressive to me. He was going to dinner with his daughters, and his ex-wife got sick and he had to take his girls at the last minute. And I was like, that is super cool that you stand up with another parent and do that. And that was, so it was kind of like, I don't really know if I want to search around. I think I want to kind of delve in and get to know this guy a little bit.
Okay. What is the cheesiest line that you saw in your time in online dating that you can remember?
Oh gosh. So there was this guy, and he had his username as someone special. And
pretty full of himself, huh?
Someone special, I think 47. And then he sent me a message and he was like, "Hey, gorgeous, I know your daddy told you would meet someone special someday. Well, here I am."
That's crazy. Yeah.
Like, does he not realize that we're smart enough to know that he has sent that to 453 other women? Like, it is copy and paste, copy and paste, copy and paste.
Right. Yeah. That's the thing too. Is like, women definitely see that the whole copy and paste thing, or that's just completely unoriginal, or, the generic, hey, beautiful stuff, just it becomes noise because women are so inundated typically on these dating apps that you have to do something to stand out. And
you either have to do something or you have to do nothing. I mean, from the standpoint of a lot of my friends, we will respond to the guy that comes in and asks questions very specific to our profile, or the guy that just sends the general, like, "Hey, I hope you're having a great day. Would like to get to know you." Like the very just basic, non-assuming message.
Yeah. So like on dating apps specifically, I usually tell guys a good way to open is to find like a picture of, and then try to guess what she's thinking in that moment, because then you have to tailor it to her and her profile. And it's something that she probably doesn't see every day. And that works like really well for me. And then going to what you're saying about being unassuming and just, giving some value, maybe. I have a friend, his name is Benny Lichtenwalder. He's a dating coach out of Georgia, and he teaches guys how to pick up women on Facebook, and it's genius, but that's the way he does it. He basically has you add a bunch of, women as friends. And then, it becomes sort of like a sales funnel, which comes across as creepy, but it's a numbers game at the end of the day. And he'll have you like be friends with them for like a week or something, and then send them a video message, because most guys won't do that. It's kind of a bold move, but you don't say anything like assuming like, "Hey, I thought you're cute. Let's go out sometime." You just say, "Hey, I'm your random Facebook friend. Saw you in my feed. Thought I'd say hello. I hope you're having a good day." And that's it. And then he says, like, out of that, you might send that to like 10 different women, but like, 4 of them will reply to that. And it's just like, you sort of whittle it down.
And I'm shocked that works, but I guess it does, because I won't accept a Facebook friend that I don't know.
Sure.
Because I assume you're going to tell me that you're some Arabian prince that wants to, send me millions of dollars.
Yeah. And I'm the same way. And that's what, like, when, we're good friends about this, I was like, I don't think that would work for me, because I work, like, my day job is I work in network security. I'm like, I can't just have random people in my profile, like discovering little tidbits about my life that they could use to potentially like hack into the networks that I'm protecting. Like, it's insane to me. He goes, well, then build a separate profile just for dating. I'm like, that's a bit much. I don't know if I want to do that.
That's a lot of work. Yeah. I feel like all of the streams are a lot of work, even when you get onto TikTok. Like, are you going to start a YouTube? You should probably get your Instagram up and running. You should, it's a lot.
It's a lot of work. The only reason why I'm even on Instagram is because I keep getting these like weekly bans on TikTok. And in my original TikTok account, I had like 30,000 followers. I got banned in June. And so I'm like rebuilding all this. And the whole last month, every week I was getting put in these bans. So I'm like, I've really got to spread this out and tell people, like, follow me on Twitter, follow me on Instagram, because I might get banned someday and I need to keep that following. It's hard.
That's the reason why I'm like expanding. I mean, I've always had an Instagram. I've just never really done much with it. But that's the only reason why I'm really going outside, because I have a feeling at some point these haters are going to shut me down. But I don't get the hate that you guys get, which is nice.
Right.
And I think it's a very fine line. Because I mean, I am a woman and I advocate for women, and I want women to date healthy, and I want to talk to men about dating healthy. And the biggest thing that for me with healthy dating, once you get past 30 and you're through those eras of divorce, is healing. So I think because I pepper that in, I think it keeps that off of me. Like if I get a whole bunch, if I get a whole bunch of hate where I've blocked a whole bunch of people recently, then I make sure to go back and talk about that stuff that truly I do love to talk about, because I think it keeps that kind of happy medium with everybody. But I also believe that the men's right side of this is and the men's advocacy is stuff that women need to hear. So you have to give content that is also focused to women to get them to listen. And I mean, from my standpoint, I saw someone in the beginning of me posting some men's advocacy that was adamantly against this. And she is cheering on guys in my comment section all the time now. And is some stuff of her own. And and she sent me a message, like, I had no idea. And I have 2 sons and this is concerning for me. And, and she sent me some messages about her son. And I'm like, yeah, gotta look at it.
It's legit. Now, see, like the funny thing is about like my channel, right? Like my old channel, my original channel, I think I can see where I crossed the line a couple of times. It's really easy to put people on blast. And a lot of the times you call people out and that will get a crap load of views. And it's like controversy creates clicks. And so it's like, okay, I can see where I went wrong there. So this time, this go around, I've tried to be a little more diplomatic, but at the same time, like my big thing is I found that I can't even stitch anymore. And it's not because people are reporting me. It's because the algorithm like has me on a list. And as soon as I and it's specific with that feature of stitch, it immediately goes into a review phase. And if there's anything questionable about the original video, I'm the one that gets put in TikTok jail for it. And the original video gets stay up. So now, like you noticed the other day, I stitched one of your videos, but I tagged you in it, but I didn't actually do the stitch feature because that's how I have to get around it these days. It's absurd. But still, like occasionally I'll put out a video and it's hard to like get a whole entire point across in 1 minute. And so you're trying to keep these like videos to a minute or less because the 3-minute videos don't do as well. And you'll get like someone that's just having a bad day or, whatever. And they see that one video and now like you're on their shit list and they don't see all the other good stuff you put out. Cause I put out lots of like relationship, like this men, you need to step up. This is how you are a better man for your woman. And I get a lot of women that like that content, but these people that hate me, like don't see that stuff. They only see the one side.
Feed them. I mean, it's all about drama.
It's crazy.
They keep more people coming back because they're angry than I think because they're happy, because people are just wanting to be mad in life and bitter.
Misery does love company.
Well, and I also think that bitter people are more lonely, and more lonely people spend more time at home. And they don't necessarily, want to see the happy, bubbly content all the time. They want to be in the drama because they're bitter. And so it makes them feel better to take their bitterness out on somebody else. But I truly do believe that the numbers are higher in people that are a little bitter and a little lonely because they're home by themselves. They're not out with friends. They're not enjoying dates. They're not doing other activities in their lives. They're home on their couch with nothing to do but watch TV.
Yep.
And depending where in the country, there are still places that are shut down. So
true. Yeah, very true. Going back to Dad Bod, Mr. Dad Bod. That's Mr. Dad Bod. What's the most fun date so far that you've been on with him?
Oh, wow. Well, so we don't actually do a ton of dates. we are both very low key people, and we both love the water. So most of our days together. So he is early retired in his early 40s. And I had decided to take off 9 months from work and just spend some extra time with my kid throughout the summer. So we spend most of our days, we get up, we eat some breakfast, we get drinks, and we sit in the pool all day. And I mean, that's kind of our thing. We just chill in the pool and listen to music and chat and laugh and make jokes and watch TikToks. And
okay.
Yeah, I mean, we had a blast at the beach. But we're both I am extremely high strung, and he is extremely laid back. And that is a very good yin and yang, because he brings my insanity way, 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 way down, which is necessary for me.
Okay. Yeah,
I don't need somebody to egg me on. Okay.
That's good. Yeah. The reason why I ask is funny because I used to be like that. I used to be like, I could just hang out all day, watch a Netflix on the couch and just, curl up on the couch. And that was like my idea of heaven, and, but I starting to study this stuff and learning about, like reading these dating books and stuff like that. Like a lot of the times they talk about like, you need to, in order to keep the relationship going well, you need to date your woman, you need to take her out every once in a while and stuff like that. So I like to plan dates with my girlfriend.
Yeah.
But I feel like she doesn't need that. Like she's totally cool. Just like coming over, watching TV and cooking and having dinner here. And I'm always like, let's go do something. So
yeah, no, we go out to dinner. Like we just spent 4 days at the beach together. We go walking together. We go hiking together. We go do things together. But I mean, the funnest time we have is just like that chill time where it's just like, there's no timetable set and there's nothing that there's nowhere we have to be. It's just, we can get out of the pool whenever we want. And whenever we decide we want food, we can either walk into the kitchen and cook something, or we can, chill out and order DoorDash.
I like that. Yeah, that's good. Career. So your About Me section said that you were a graphic designer. Do you still do that stuff, or do you do something completely different now?
Yeah, that was written prior. My last job is I was a creative manager.
Okay.
So I managed the marketing department for an automotive repair products company. I managed all of the graphics, everything from video to audio to social media for a $90 million brand.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Is that why you're like so good at social media and stuff? Is because you had dabbled a little bit in that?
I mean, so my technical title at my job was graphic designer, but we were an employee-owned company. So you did whatever needed to be done. So my job included project management. It included video. It included social media. It included all of that, which eventually we got bought out by one of the big, huge companies, which then it was like, all right, she's actually doing this job, not this job. We need to change her title and get her right on the books. But It was never necessity because I knew what my job was. I was a creative manager. And so I never felt physically change it. But when I went to write my blog, I was like, that feels weird to put graphic designer because I do that about like 2% of my day.
Okay.
Yeah.
So how long did you do that?
Oh gosh, I had been in graphic design. I mean, I'd been with that company for 13 years, but I had been in graphic design pretty much my whole career. Except for in my 20s, I did legal document support. So I basically assisted lawyers getting ready for trial.
Yeah. You mentioned that you had a little bit of a background in legal. So you did that in your 20s?
Yeah, I did that from when I graduated from college until I was like 29.
Okay. Were you like a paralegal? Did you have to go to school for that?
No, so I had a legal document company, and we did everything from helping them prepare the documents that were taken to court, transferring documents to other people. But then when it came time to the trial, it was like kind of looking back from a graphic standpoint. Like you've got 17 exhibits and you can only walk into court with 3. Like giving them that, you know what, let's combine this and do this from a graphic standpoint of what's going to give the biggest impact in that trial that they can win that for the family of the girl that was murdered, the big company that's trying to sue another company for patent infringement, because we supported every type of law.
Okay. So how did you go from doing legal stuff to graphic design stuff? That's an interesting transition. Yeah.
So in the legal, I did the graphic part of it.
Okay.
And it was also very document and printing based. And I've always been more on the marketing side. I mean, my college degree, I have a degree in marketing. Marketing, economics, and finance with a minor in graphic design. I wanted to go to art school. My parents said, you need to go, if you're getting a full ride to college, you need to go to business school.
So you minored in the art stuff.
Yes.
Okay. Where did you go to college?
Drexel University.
Okay.
Philadelphia.
Very cool. All right. Is that where you live now?
I live in South Carolina.
South Carolina. Okay. That's right. I think you said that to me. How does one go from Philly to South Carolina?
The silliest reason ever. My best friend, who is still my best friend to this day, we went to preschool together. We made a pact when we were 6 years old that we would raise our kids together someday. She was already married. I was not. She said, my husband and I are trying to get pregnant. We have a deal, girl. You have to come. And I did.
That's pretty hard. That's pretty hardcore. All right. So being from Philly, are you a Yuengling girl? You like Yuengling?
Yes, I went through withdrawal when I moved to the South. I moved here in 2001 and Yuengling had not gone across the country and you couldn't get here. And I went into a bar and realized I couldn't get it. And the next weekend I drove to Philadelphia and came back with case upon case, like a carload full.
It's so funny. I was in the Navy, and one of my chiefs in the Navy was he was from Philadelphia, and he still to this day, I'm friends with him on Facebook. He won't shut up about Yuengling and how great it is. And one time we were in the Persian Gulf and we were stuck underway for 50 days or something. This was right when the USS Cole got bombed. And so we weren't allowed to go back in port because of the terrorist threat. And so we ended up getting a beer day. They've actually fly on pallets of beer, and each person gets rationed 2 beers. And so he put in the word with the supply chief and was like, hey, get us some Yuengling. And so we had a pallet of Yuengling flown on, and I'd never heard of it when I was that age. I was 20 something. I don't know. You can drink over over 18 anywhere besides the US pretty much. And so I had a Budweiser or something. So I never actually tried it. And then until just a couple of weeks ago, I went to a men's retreat with some of my 3% men brothers in Georgia. And they went for a beer run. I was like, hey, is there Yuengling here? Is Yuengling available? Because it's not available out in Colorado where I'm at. And they're like, yeah, they sell it here. So I was like, get some. So I finally, after all this time, 42 years old, finally got to try some Yuengling.
It's okay now that I'm older.
Right. I drank it and I was like, this basically tastes like a shitty domestic beer. What? It's not that special.
Yeah.
It's a lot of hype.
About a month or two ago in a bar one night and was like, oh, wow, this is not nearly as good as I thought it was.
Right. Yeah. There's with all the microbrews these days, all the different ales and reds and browns and pale ales and stuff like that. It's there's no comparison.
And I'm basic. I am a White Claw girl.
Yeah. I got a Keystone right here. It's I'm okay with shitty domestic beer, but still it's I wouldn't sit there and write all about this shit on Facebook, how great it is.
Yeah. I mean, I'm a seltzer, tequila, and of all things, I Jägermeister.
Okay. Jaeger. Party girl. All right.
Bill.
That's funny. So let me ask you this then. Where did the manicured mom thing come from then? So I assumed with that name, you were a cosmetologist or something. And then I'm reading this. I'm like, no.
So as silly as it is, Color Street is press on, they're like stickers made of real nail polish and they stick on your nails.
Okay.
I sell those on the side as a little side business because, single mom, extra money. Yeah. And I really started selling them because I loved them and my dad was dying of cancer and I needed something fun to focus on in my life that would keep my brain occupied at night when I couldn't sleep because I was 10 hours from home. And every time I got like this like weird feeling, I was getting my car in the middle, like wanting to get in my car in the middle of the night. I needed a hobby. So it started there. And then as my ex-husband and I were having issues, I started writing. And my therapist mentioned that maybe I should publish it. And my ex-husband said I should publish it. And I said, that if we go south, the good, the bad, and the ugly get posted. Mm-hmm. Like if I'm going to share, I'm going to share everything. Like it's all or nothing. That's who I am.
Right.
So I kind of kept it through the nail business to that. And then when I got a TikTok, it was like, well, I kind of already have this going. I might as well just TikTok for that.
Got it. Okay. Yeah. That was going to be my next question is like, can we see him? Let's see the paint job. So ooh, that's sparkly. All the men that watch this they're going to be impressed. Yeah. That's awesome though. So yeah, let's talk about TikToks now. A majority of your channel is basically on men's right advocacy now. Like what made you get into that niche?
So, it's always been there in the back of my mind. And I've watched so many of my girlfriends go through divorces and I've lost friends over why are you running him through the mother? Why are you trying to take his kids? And on the other side, I've always been much more of a guy's girl than a girl's girl. I have a lot more buddies in my life than I have female friends. Mm-hmm. And so because of that, I've also watched some of my buddies just be annihilated. And I hadn't really thought to talk a lot about it. And when I made a post on TikTok about dad bod stepping up, and it was kind of as COVID was ending and bars were first starting to open up, me and all my girlfriends went out. They shut down cab services. We were all like 45 minutes from home. And they were able to get a cab because they were close. I was not. But at the time, we didn't know. We had no one to call because we were all together. I called him and he was going to be willing to drive 40 minutes from his house to pick me up, drive my girlfriends all over, which would have been about a 2.5 hour round trip to get him back because we were in all different sides of the city. They ended up getting cabs or getting Ubers as he was pulling into the thing. And I posted a TikTok that was like this is a really good man and I better get my ass off these dating apps. And there was such an outpouring from men that when I talked about and they were cheering him on, like, holy crap, the good guy finally won. We never see the good guy win. Mm-hmm. And I was seeing that there were a lot of them also like telling stories of what they'd been through and heartache and heartbreak. And at the same time, I was watching a couple of my buddies go through their like nasty divorces and finalize and heartbroken. And it just kind of was like, it just kind of was like, I mentioned something one day, and then I mentioned something. And then the more and more I actually started looking at the stats on a national basis, I was like, this is not just a 1 or 2 guy thing. This is a huge problem. Like this is a huge bias and an injustice. And then as I kind of started familiarizing myself with the MGTOW guys, which I agree on, there are some crazy extremists that just hate women. But then there are the other ones that are really just doing it for the benefit of saving young men from the heartache that they've gone through to teach them not to divorce. It's kind of like, wait, but what about all of my friends' sweet little daughters? Like and as I was thinking all of this, I'm watching the male creators that are getting shut down one right after another by these feminist groups. And I've always been very much on look, if you want equality, that's great. But don't expect them to pay for your dinner. Like I hate my female friends that are like, he can't do that in the workplace, but buy me dinner. No, cop it up. Like pay your way in life. Don't complain about it. Like don't come away from a date and think he's cheap because he asked you to buy the drinks after he bought you dinner earlier. Like,
yeah, my friend, you may have heard of him. He's been completely deplatformed from TikTok, and he's been deplatformed so many times that like his phone, like his SIM card is banned from TikTok. So like he can't even create new accounts. He goes by Black Spider Guy Advice. He dresses like Black Spider-Man. He talks about that a lot. Like he talks about the modern women, they want traditional men, but they themselves don't want to be traditional. Like they feel like they're owed something. You know,
it's the Me Too movement of feminism. I mean, that's feminism. That's exactly what it is, because the core of feminism is great. I mean, they fought for equality. They fought for PTSD support. It was about equality for all. They were bettering men's issues as well as bringing women into the workforce and the playing field. But then all of a sudden it became we're going to rule the world Me Too movement of today's radical feminists. That's like, we want it all, but we still have these expectations on men.
Yeah.
We also want to be above, and we don't care what we take from men. It was before, it was like, we're going to fight for some court change because women didn't have the right to work. And then a husband would decide he wanted to divorce, and she would be left high and dry, having ever worked her entire life and basically be on welfare.
Right.
But it's gone way too far.
Right. Yeah. Like I look at like alimony laws and stuff like that. Like those were designed for situations like that, when women couldn't work, they didn't work, they had no other resource unless they had some kind of man to take care of them. That made sense then. It sort of makes sense then. But now with all this equality being thrown around, you know, like everywhere you turn, it's equality, right? Like they should be able to work now. Right? You wanted this.
I mean, and most of my friends
have
worked full-time jobs. I mean, went right back, just like me. I mean, I had my child and went back to work at 12 weeks. Mm-hmm. And I worked full-time, and I had just as successful of a career as my husband. But I could have gotten alimony because I made a little less than him. He took a different career path. It had nothing to do with whether or not we worked hard. He made more money. And we signed an agreement up front as exactly what we wanted. Mm-hmm. The day we showed up at the courthouse, my lawyer pulls me aside, and I had the lawyer because it has to be assigned to one person. He was going in without a lawyer. Lawyer pulls me aside and says, the judge wants you to take, I think it was like $1,285 a month in alimony, and he wants you to take $975 a month in child support. Our agreement had none of that in it.
The judge wanted that.
Yes, the judge said that that's what was due to me.
That's amazing to me. Like, so
we had me in front of him.
Yeah,
but we had signed, notarized agreement, and by the time we made it to court, we had already transferred the house out of his name, and I had, written him a check for it, like exchanged all of our assets, like put cars in the right places, like the only thing that wasn't done was the transfer of my retirement, part of my retirement to him. And that was honestly because we needed the finalized divorce to get the paperwork to do that without a tax, without paying taxes on it.
That's amazing to me. In the state of Colorado, it's done by a formula. So it's like whoever makes the most money needs to pay the other person based on a formula. And the only way out of it is if the person that is getting paid waives it. And that's the only way. Like if that person's like, oh, I'm owed this, and then they decide they want it. Yeah. You don't have a leg to stand on. I
could have done that day to him.
Yeah. It's unbelievable.
And the lawyer's like, the judge really wants me to talk to you about this because, and I'm like, I don't need it. Like I make decent money, and I own a huge home, and I have multiple vehicles. Like I'm going to be okay. Like it's okay. I don't need his money. It'll be fine. Mm-hmm. And I didn't, and the other side is I also did not ever want the story coming back to me that the reason he was struggling in life is because I took him to the cleaners. Mm-hmm. I didn't want him to ever be able to blame me for bad decisions he may make in the future, that it was all my fault financially. I didn't want that on my back. I wanted that clean slate. So we ended up with a minor amount of child support, which the judge was not going to lean on, because he's like, wait, he's claiming him on the taxes and you're paying daycare. Mm-hmm. So it's actually costing you more money to have your child every year. And that's not fair. Regardless of your income difference, that's not fair. So we're going to give you this $300 a month that cuts that differential cost there of what you pay for after school and summer care and what he gets back on taxes. And I'm you didn't, I don't, like, that's fine. because he was going to write me a check every month anyways for after school care and half of the extra fund. Like we had just said we would do that on the side. It's just that it's now in paperwork and he's obligated to do it until we change it. Got it.
Okay. That makes sense. Why do you think you get so much hate from women? Because every once in a while I'll see TikToks where you're replying to comments and it's a lot of times it's like women and you're like, look, you know, you're putting your stance out there, but why do you think where does the hate come from women?
So I think some of it comes from like just the feminist side of anytime as a woman you support a man, you're not supporting feminist views. Mm-hmm. And anytime you say that a man deserves something, then you're taking away from women, because there are instances and places where women truly aren't 100% equal. Like, I mean, I don't have the right to go, like when I was married, I couldn't go in and get my tubes tied without my husband's signature, which means I don't have the right to my own body. Is that
a state thing?
No, it's not a state thing. Unfortunately, it's not a state thing. It's not a medical thing. It's a doctor thing. But 80% of doctors take that stance. So finding one that would go around a husband is slim and nil. But then on the other side, the husband can go in and get a vasectomy and they don't even care. Like,
really? Okay. I did not know that.
There are a few female doctors that will kind of take that stance because men are taking it against women. But no, like as a man, you could walk in and be married and decide you wanted a vasectomy and never tell your wife. You don't need her signature.
Interesting.
So I get some of that. So and the other side is I'm very specific to call out either modern toxic or radical feminist. But the true actual first wave feminists are offended by being grouped with that and take it as a call towards them. And I always say in my comments, like, look, I'm not talking about feminists at the true nature of what feminism was meant to do. I'm talking about our radical Me Too movement, modern feminists that want thing and don't want any consequences for it. So I think I get it from that. And I also think that there's just innately a jealousy amongst women. Like there's a girls' club in women. And if you are the girl that is garnering a lot of attention from men, they instantly want to hate you. And it's a jealousy. It's like, I want to hate you because I want that attention and I'm not getting. Why is my account not growing and yours is?
Yeah. It's so like
want to challenge you on that.
They're competitive. Women tend to be pretty competitive with each other that way.
So it's you just want attention from men is what it comes down to for a lot of them. Like you don't really believe in what you're saying and you have no reason to say it.
Okay. On a similar vein, I've seen some, and I don't know if you've seen them, but like I've seen on like Instagram and I've seen like in these like YouTube, there's people on YouTube that will take our TikTok videos and compile them and then make a shitload of money off of our stuff. And I'm like, whatever, it's free publicity for me. You know, I comment under them like, hey, thanks for the shout out, you know?
Yeah.
But I've seen some, and I've seen guys that they're basically like MGTOW, incel, you know, black pill guys that call you a chameleon. Are you familiar with that? Or do you even know about that?
I have a few of them that I blocked on TikTok.
Okay.
Because they were stealing my videos and I was like, okay. And then I went and then I unblocked them and went to their comments and blocked all their friends.
Genius. Yeah.
They can call me that all they want. And I really don't care. And one of them actually mentioned it in my comments one day. And then after mentioning it in my comments, went on and made a video about it. And it was basically like, I'm going to take her down and I am going to find her weakness and I am going to catch her and I am going to make her be gone. And I'm kind of like, but why? Like,
yeah, why though?
I'm supporting men's rights. But I get where they're coming from. They don't like the fact that I talk about healthy relationships because those guys are so on the black pill side that they don't want women in their structure at all. They don't want to, you know, there's women don't serve any purpose to them whatsoever. I can buy it on a Friday night, but that's really all they want from it. So they don't want anybody that supports dating, because they don't believe you can support healthy men and advocate for men and support dating at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
But
those guys drive me nuts.
Very small percentage of society. That's like saying all feminists are modern radical feminists. No, they're not. That's a small percentage. Unfortunately, they're the loudest group, and they're the ones that are getting a lot of the men's accounts shut down.
Yeah. It blows my mind. Some of these guys, and I do a lot of videos. I don't have a lot of friends in the MGTOW community either, because I call them quitters. I'm like, no one likes a quitter. I do a lot of videos on that, and I get, oh my God, and it's funny because a lot of these guys, where I talk about like relationships, I'm the kind of guy that whatever you want to do, right? Like if you want to just date multiple women and be a permanent plate spinner, I'm here to help you. Cool. I'll show you how to do that. If you want to, spin some plates until you find the right girl, I'll show you how to keep her around for a while. If you want to get married, awesome. I recommend getting a prenup and, doing the best you can to protect yourself financially. There's nothing perfect. Once you sign that paper,
yeah,
you're going to take a hit if that ends, badly. But what I will not advocate for are these guys that are like, give up on women completely. I'm just going to go down to my mom's basement, play video games, and, whack off for the rest of their life. I'm not going to advocate for that.
But those are the ones that are calling me a chameleon, and a lot of them, that's kind of that crew that is doing. Like, do you not understand that you're a very small subset, and you may think that men want to give up women altogether, but you do realize that society would end if that would happen. Mm-hmm. So that's a really good grand plan you got there.
Yeah.
And society, like, how is that? There's nothing constructive about it.
There's not. What's funny? I'm going to ask you about this or about books and stuff here in a second, but like there's a book series from a guy named Rollo Tomassi. Rollo Tomassi wrote a book called The Rational Male, and a lot of guys read like his first book and then they hate women, right? And but if you read his other books, he's got a whole series. There's like 4 books in the series. I haven't read the 4th one yet, but the 2nd and 3rd one are great. And it's like, guys, you have to read these other 2 to get his full philosophy here. But he calls out these guys, and he's like, these guys are total quitters. And he's like, you're not going to change the world by trying to move to an island and remove yourself. He goes, because the modern feminist movement is moving to all areas of the globe. Yeah. He's like, it's going to impact you somewhere down the line. You can't just quit. So, it's funny because a lot of you guys get their philosophy from that man, the Rollo Tomassi. I'm like, you guys don't know his whole philosophy until you read all this stuff. So speaking of books, have you read any books on the subject of men's rights? Or
the funny thing is I am not a book reader. I am a blog reader, and I am let me download the research data. Let me download the statistics from. I'm a little bit of a project management nerd, and I, at this point in time, have spreadsheets with data going from different states to compare things. And speaking of men's rights, Arkansas just passed guaranteed 50-50 custody unless one parent or the other can prove unfit, that one of the parents is unfit beyond a reasonable doubt.
Oh,
and it is up for vote in Ohio.
That's outstanding. So Arkansas and Ohio.
To change. It just happened that they start at 50-50 guaranteed until one or the other parents files with reasonable cause to remove that, or unless the parents can come to an agreement outside of that's not best for the child because she's going to stay at home and he's going to be working all the time.
Outstanding. I love it.
Yeah.
What's also great too. I just, by the time this episode drops, a couple of weeks before that, I have on my divorce attorney friend. His name's Matt Sandifer. And he and I were talking about all this stuff, child custody, alimony and stuff like that. And he's an attorney in Louisiana. And he says that in Louisiana, they almost never award permanent alimony anymore in Louisiana because of equality, because like they can get a job now. They have a thing there where they have a temporary alimony from when, like, if you file until the time that everything's finalized, you have to pay, they call it maintenance or whatever, but same thing. You have that small period where you have to pay it, but then after that, it goes into permanent alimony. And the way that I guess Louisiana sees it is you've been paying it that whole time. You've had enough time to get a job. You don't need permanent alimony. And I'm like, that's outstanding. So like some of these states are sound like they're starting to come around doing the right thing. Yeah.
I mean, I truly believe that a stay-at-home mom should be given, if she's been staying at home with her children, taking care of her, should be given alimony for a limited period of time to give her time to get not just a job, but a couple years back in that career. Because if she stayed at home for 14 years, she's 14 years behind her earning power. And that's something that, not a sacrifice, but a choice that they made, knowing that that was ultimately going to happen. And at the time they made that, the decision that he was always going to take care of her. I believe she deserves a few years to get her career back in line, but not 5, 10, 15 years, 3 or 4 years, get a job, get that first promotion, get adjusted back to that life. And that alimony to me is not keep you in the lifestyle. It's save, because you're coming out of this probably without a lot of savings either, because you're not making the income to afford a high mortgage. So anything that you may have taken from joint assets, you're probably put down on a house to pay that mortgage down. So that's, to me, what that's for, is to give that start. It's for no other reason, and should not be there for any other reason.
Right. Maybe I can see that. The California, someone said that California, their alimony law is like for life unless she gets remarried. Otherwise you pay for life. That's insanity to me.
It's absolute insanity.
Yeah.
But if you're for more than 10 years, you can file for, if I were never to get married again at the age of 65, I can file for half my husband's Social Security.
Oh, that's disgusting. Please don't do that.
Yeah. And you might want to cut that out when you post this. I specifically have never mentioned that on TikTok because I don't want people to be aware of it. But as I have been doing my research and researching through like National Domestic Violence Association, the census, and all of that, that is one of those little hidden gems that I came across and was just like, that's wrong in so many ways. And I wanted to make a and I was like, nope, that's
yeah.
To me, giving ammunition to women that are about to retire and didn't know that.
Well, you know what? I won't put that piece on TikTok, but it's going to be on the long form.
Yeah.
But most women don't listen to the whole podcast. So my audience is like 90% men, so it's okay. Yeah. I do have like 10% women. It's funny. They do like to hone in on what's going on. We're at an hour now, but we do have some questions. Do you have a little bit of time?
Yeah.
Okay. So we didn't get a ton of questions, so this shouldn't go too long. Gail says, how do we get someone for men and women to see us for who we are on the inside when so many flock to those who look great on the exterior? I don't think she's going to like my answer, but I'll let you go.
Honestly, I don't think there's any way to change the nature of people, which is to flock to the pretty. Now, is there a way, if you don't consider yourself in that, to make yourself much more attractive? Yes. One, confidence rules all. Like, I am not a tiny little girl. I have some weight on me. I have always attracted very attractive men. And I think it solely comes from my confidence in the way I carry myself. Two, active. A lot of women and men that are not necessarily on the pretty side of life are also not as active in life. So they're not out doing social things because they lack confidence. So you may find that you connect with someone as a friend initially. That becomes so much more when you get to know them, because that friendship can trigger attraction over time. But if you're spending a lot of time at home sitting by yourself and not going to community events, not going out and doing things, not going to meetup groups, not going to hiking groups, not going to anything, you're never going to find it. And if you think you're going to find it on a dating app, if you don't take an excessively pretty headshot, everybody's going for the top 10 prettiest people. I mean, that's just, I hate to say it, but that's the nature of dating apps.
No, that's really how it is. I would say that's actually a really good point you bring up, especially for men. Confidence, like you see a lot of like guys who are challenged in the looks department with really pretty women. And a lot of that comes down to confidence. But I almost guarantee that they didn't meet on a dating app, because on dating apps, pictures and how you look is like number one and everything else is secondary. And I hate to say it, it may come across as shallow from men's point of view, but men are very visual, and when they first see you, they're not looking at your personality. You know what I mean? So what I tell men, because I mean, my channel's almost 100% geared towards men, is if you're having a problem like getting dates and you might think you're confident or whatever, but you're still not getting the type of women you want, then you need to make yourself you need to like attracts like, if maybe you should lose some weight, maybe you should work on your appearance a little bit, maybe you should get better fitting clothes. All that stuff helps, and maybe, that's shallow. It shouldn't be that way, but that's the way it is.
Yeah. And I have done this with a few of my friends, and there's been some tears over it, but I've kind of sat them down and had the conversation of, okay, I'm going to give you this picture of a 10. I'm going to give you this picture of a 5, and I'm going to give you this picture of a 2. Who do you most resemble? Where do you fall? And they'll come back at a 6. And I'm like, but every guy you're pointing out is a 10. Mm-hmm. You need to go for your 6s. You need to go, maybe you can level up to an 8 because you're a ton of fun and you can impress them. But I hate to say it, but you have to date in your zone. Mm-hmm. And if you're not do that, then you need to change what your zone is.
Yeah, I mean, there's a whole concept in the men's dating community that there's no such thing as leagues, right? Like, oh, she's out of my league and stuff like that. Yeah. But I sort of agree with you on that. If you're looking for a banging, perfect 10 chick that clearly goes to the gym every day, you need to be going to the gym every day.
And from my standpoint, I don't want a guy that goes to the gym every day because I don't like to go to the gym. I like to hike. I like to ride bikes. I like to swim. I'm not going to go to the gym with you. Mm-hmm. And I don't want a guy that's going to spend 4 hours there. I would rather have a guy that says, I'm good for a long hike with you.
Yeah. There you go.
I mean, like-minded people. Like somebody said to me, do you consider yourself shallow because you wouldn't date somebody significantly overweight? No. When fall comes, I like to hit the hiking trails. If you're significantly overweight and can't walk around the block, you can't do one of my big hobbies with me.
Yeah.
And that's a problem for me.
Yeah. And the way I look at that is look, everyone's got their preferences. There are people that do like heavier set people, there's, and whatever, they're into that, but I'm not. And I feel like it should be okay.
I believe that it absolutely is. What I don't like is when somebody comes into the comment section and says, if she weighs over 150 pounds. No, I'm not. You're just being an ass right now. Why'd you got to put a number on it? Because 150 pounds on one person looks totally different than it does on another person.
Sure.
Sure.
Don't put there's men and women that carry their weight in a good way. There's people that can put on weight and they still look good. And I'm not one of those people. If I put on weight, it is unattractive. That is for sure. Yeah. And I can say that because I've been overweight for sure. Let's go to the next question. Nate Dogg asked something inappropriate. Can she teach women about something? We can't talk about that, Nate.
I can teach women that intimacy with your man is extremely important. If you're not willing to do that on a regular basis, he's going to lose interest in you.
Yes.
And if he doesn't want that to be intimate with you on a regular basis, that's a sure sign that he's on his way out the door anyways.
Yeah.
Like anybody that says that that's not a key part of relationships doesn't really know what relationships are all about.
They're lying. Yeah. It's the glue that keeps it all together.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. So Nate, I hope that answers your question, you perv. Our mutual friend, Texas Desert Sailor 2.0, because he got banned.
He's 2.0 and 2.0. He got his 2.0 back.
Oh, he got it. He got his original account back.
Yeah, he got it back.
How the fuck did he do that?
So from what he told me, what he said in his live, some woman basically threatened him that she was going to go, like she had a bunch of troll accounts and they were going to mass report him.
Yeah.
And he had that information and emailed that to TikTok because that was right after we had gone live that night. And he had banned her and this woman and a couple people from his live on his side that night. She posted that on his post in one of his comments up the next morning to like 17 banned videos. And then his account was down a little bit later. So he was armed with that information that this woman threatened him with troll accounts. TikTok reviewed all that information, restored every one of his videos, I think, except for like 1 or 2 out of the 17 and gave him his account back.
How did he even get a hold of them? Because I've emailed them and it just goes to Never Neverland. I'll have to ask him probably.
Yeah, I don't know how that happens.
That's amazing to me.
I've never had to email them. The only thing I've ever had was a few videos taken down and I've said that click that I'd like to appeal this. And
they restore it.
I've had every single one but one restored. But when they took the one down, I didn't ask for it to be restored because I flat out said when I posted the video, oh, I am so going to get this banned. Like this is going to get taken down.
Yeah.
Because I went after a woman on a very personal level.
Ooh, ouch.
After a comment strand on a very personal level about me.
Okay. Yeah, that'll do it. It's so funny too that they'll go after you for bullying, for just defending yourself like that. It's insane. One thing though, I've learned from Black Spider Guy and from Chuck Daddy, who a lot of women fucking hate, which I mean, based on the stuff he says, like, I get it. I get it. That dude is next level.
He's a little unlikable. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sometimes he does something and I'm like, wow, that was really like good information. But most of the time I do the eye rolling at him. And, you know,
yeah, he's an interesting person because, you know, Black Spider Guy and J Rudd and I are doing a group podcast, and it's, you know, it's called the Mantastic Four. And I mean, like, and Chuck's in it, and it's just like, he'll just say stuff and we've recorded like 4 episodes now.
T-shirts. We're
going to get some. Yeah. But we've recorded stuff now and he'll just say stuff like in the recording and like all three of us are like, what? Like, it's just, that dude's next level. But anyway, like, one of the things that he and Black Spider Guy taught me is like, if you are going to put someone on blast like that, you need to go to their account and block them first. And then you can like stitch their video and stuff like, so.
Yeah. And from my standpoint on this particular one, it was worth getting taken down over because I actually wanted her to see my reply because it was one. Okay, I'll play with you, honey.
Okay.
It was like condescending, like.
I love it. Okay. I like it. I really wish TikTok would let us do that more though, you know?
Yeah.
Cause that stuff's good. That's quality content.
It's funny.
So anyway, so Texas Desert Sailor, he has a question. It was, knowing men are walking away, how do women plan on bringing us back?
So I don't think that it is a 5-year or 10-year or 15-year solution. I think that it is a long-term solution. I think it's going to take a combination of women like myself speaking out, but making sure that we're not advocating so hard for men's rights and we're not advocating for men to walk away. That's the big thing. We're advocating to save marriage. We're advocating to change these laws. We're advocating to, right now, I don't feel like we're in a place that we can change the laws because there's not enough people that are following it. But the more and more women that realize the realities that are going to happen to their sons and the realities that now you can play on the hearts of those moms that, like, your daughter may never get that beautiful white wedding dress and all of those fantasies you have as a mom, picking that up, like doing your hair, all of those moments, that may never happen for you if men continue to walk away. So if we don't work together as women to change these laws, because men can't speak up and do it because they're misogynists when they do it, and their accounts get banned and their voice gets sent away, then nothing's going to change. So I think it's going to take time to do that. But I also think the MGTOW side of it, as more and more men become vocal about walking away, I think that will also instill some fear into these women that don't think that there's an issue. Like, oh, wow, they weren't joking. They're really gone. Mm-hmm. Like 7 of the 5 guys I've met, or 7 of the 10 guys I've met recently said they're never, ever going to get married again. So that leaves me with 3. And now all of a sudden my chances are slim and nil.
Yeah.
So I think it's going to be a combination of both, but I think it's going to be like one of those long things. It's kind of like when feminists happened, it took 30 years for it to really take effect. And I think we're on the backside of kind of changing it. No change like this is going to be quick.
Yeah, I agree with that. Let's see. Rhino 19 says, let's see here. A lady 3 years younger than I at 28 put me in the friend zone. That has nothing to do with the question, though. Besides church, best spots to find Christian ladies?
Community events.
Okay.
Yeah, community events, any of those, like build a house projects, anything that is like not just necessarily like the community fair or things like that, but any of those community outreach is such a great place. And the other side, you're going to meet a lot of Christian women, dog shelters, animal shelters, because women that are innately Christian want to volunteer in anything that they love. So if there's an art program for kids, if there's a dog shelter, if there's building houses, you're going to see Christian women at those, because Christian women volunteer their time. So if you want to meet a good Christian woman, you're not going to do it in a bar. You're going to do it volunteering. So go out and volunteer, and you'll probably have a higher chance.
Yeah. Yeah. And usually I would say, I mean, I'm not a churchgoer, but I've been to church, and churches oftentimes like put on events. Yeah. Like you said, community events, right? Like you can usually find it like a local church's Facebook page, and they'll probably be promoting some kind of local thing, I would say.
Yeah, those are great events, but I'm also talking like Habitat for Humanity.
Okay. Yeah.
I have a ton of Christian girlfriends that they go to Habitat for Humanity, like when they're doing like a homeless stocking drive or homeless this. They're the girls at the table. Like they're volunteering their time for the betterment of humanity. So start volunteering and you may meet more.
Okay. Let's see. George Jones, 7575 says, is 5 love languages a real thing? I replied to that and I said, yes, it is, but I'll ask her.
I believe it is.
Yeah.
I believe it absolutely is. And I believe that you have to understand somebody's love language, but I believe a lot of people's love language is not what they think it is.
Oh, go on.
I believe so I have watched so many people, so many couples and so many relationships be like, well, no, but he never gives me gifts. But then he starts giving gifts and she's still complaining about the dishes. And all along it was active service. But for her, the flowers were letting him get away with not giving the dishes, like doing the dishes. So people think that their love language is one thing, but if they innately look at the things that annoy them, a lot of times what they're craving is to cover up something else, because gifts is easier. It's easier to convince a man to bring me flowers than it is to convince a man that he needs to do the dishes.
Yeah. That's a really well said. I have a whole episode I did like earlier in the year on the 5 love languages, because I think it's a life-changing book. Because that was one of the first books I read when I was trying to understand women. I read that book, and then I looked back at past relationships going, oh crap, like just knowing that person, this could have swayed things in a different direction if I would have known to do this more. And I've also had, like last year, I was in a very short relationship, and we ended up breaking up because I did understand the love languages, and I was like, you're not speaking my love language. And she was like, well, that's not how I speak love languages. I go, that's not how this works. I go, I speak to you in your love language. You speak to me in mine. That's how it works. And if you're not willing to do that, then we need to part ways. And we did.
Yeah. And I think that's a downfall of a lot of relationships, because I think a lot of relationships a lot of women will say, well, my love language is acts of service. So I'm going to do these 5 things for this man. And his love language is physical touch. Right. And so you did absolutely nothing to benefit him. Right. You did that because you feel really good that you did those 5 things for him, but that wasn't really wanted. Yeah. And I think men do the same thing, because I see men in the comments complain like, well, I did this for her. I built a shed. I mowed the lawn. You see that a lot, like a lot of the, women expecting, this gratitude for mowing the lawn and stuff like that. But he thinks that he's, doing this act of service, but that's not her love language, So yeah. I think both sides, people could learn that, hey, you need to figure out what like their top 2 is. That's what I say. Like your top 2, you need to speak to them hardcore in that love language and fill their cup up. Yeah. And yeah. Let's see here. Last question. Brenda Trott says, ugh, good luck. I said, did you see my comment to that? I said that wasn't in the form of a question. She clearly doesn't like me for whatever reason, but I don't think she is. So do you know how I found you on TikTok?
Go on. Yeah. How?
And so I don't know at what point, I think when I posted the video that blew up about dad bod, that was kind of when I was like, I sent it to him. And I was like, very popular, because people were naming him like, oh, we should name him the president of dad bods. He's the king of dad bods. Like
CEO of dad bods. Yeah.
It was very, 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 very funny. So I sent it to him. And I sent him my link. He had no access to my TikTok at that point in time. And so we were talking about some things. And then I posted something that was sort of along the men's rights thing and something about dating. And he was like, oh, you would like this guy, come on, man.
Oh,
he doesn't have a TikTok account, but he goes and scrolls through and has people that he will occasionally just go watch.
Oh, so dad bod follows me.
So he doesn't follow anybody because he doesn't have an account. He just watches.
But he sees my stuff.
Yeah.
Okay. Interesting. Yeah. Hi, dad bod. My man.
He doesn't be bothered by it, but I always do have it consciously in the back of my mind that I interact on TikTok with so many men on a regular basis that I'm very conscious of that, because that's got to be a little unnerving from his side.
That's the thing. Like sometimes I'll put out a video about, like I did one the other day, like if she's constantly having these, chat conversations with other men, then you should drop her or whatever. But yeah, at the same time, years ago, even before I started studying this stuff, I had this like in high school, like my first serious girlfriend, like she was a smoke show. And I used to get so jealous of guys looking her direction and stuff. And I just remember one day I used to work at a Safeway, and I don't know if Safeways are all over the country, but it's a grocery store. Yeah. And I was in the break room and I was talking to one of my friends, and I was like, man, I was so mad that these guys were hitting on her all the time. And I had this manager, and he overheard it, and he goes, man, if you don't want guys to hit on your girl, date an ugly girl. And I will never forget that. And he goes, you should take that as a compliment that she's with you. She chose to be with you. And you should be proud that they're like, you know, giving her all this attention and stuff. And ever since that, I've never been a jealous guy. Like maybe at my detriment, you know, but because I've had my last long-term girlfriend, 99% sure she was monkey branching at the end. And I just completely ignored it because I'm like, I'm so not a jealous person. I'm just like, oh, you're hanging out with a bunch of dudes? You go do you, you know? And then it ended up like we ended up breaking up, and then she ended up with one of these guys that was in that crowd that she was hanging out with. And I was like, I see it now. But
yeah. No, he seems pretty secure in it. It doesn't seem to bother him. And he also enjoys, because I do share all of the, I do share the DMs with him.
Okay. That's good.
If I get DMs that cross the line, I share with him. I actually called a guy out today on TikTok.
I saw that. Yeah.
I mean, he deserved it. Like, cause he didn't come into the DMs, like just flat out hit him. I mean, he came in saying, I know you're in a relationship. Well, if you do, then why are you in my DMs?
Right. Yeah. If it doesn't work out, give me a call.
What that say about your confidence is you're just going to wait here in the background.
Right.
For a woman you've never met online.
Yeah. I'll be your male orbiter. I'm basically saying that right now, just coming out. Yeah. I'm happy to live in the friend zone for now until things go south with dad bod.
Yeah.
That's a pretty shitty place to put yourself, pal.
And every day he at least once a day has to make a joke about, you have gorgeous eyes. It's like in my comment section. I don't know how many times, at least 1 or 2 times every video that over like 10,000 views. Those
are the guys that we in the community refer to as simps. They're just like, and I think it's so funny. There's a female dating coach. Her name is Camellia. She's like Iranian or whatever. And on TikTok, she's a dating coach. And she doesn't really talk a lot because she has a thick accent, but she points at words and stuff. But on her Instagram account, she's basically like an Instagram model. So she like does all these like, you know, sexy poses and stuff. And then the comment section is just absurd with these guys. Like, oh, you're so gorgeous. And I'm just like, wow. So you get that. So your eyes are, that's the thing. That's the thing.
All the time. I get questions about them and I get it all the time. And I'm like, I don't know what to tell you. Like, and then I also get the question of what color are they? Because half my videos, they look green, half them look gray, and half they look blue, because depending on the day of the week, they are a different color.
Interesting. Okay.
I have retinal degenerative disease that was treated when I was in college, that had it not been treated through a research study at the University of Pennsylvania, it would potentially, I could have potentially gone blind from it.
Really?
Causes a fluctuation in the pigment in my eyes. And it also causes my prescription to change. So some days I need glasses, some days I don't need glasses, and I have 4 different prescriptions of glasses.
What? Is that what? How does that impact your driver's license? Do you just put various, like for your eye color? What's that?
I don't have it on there because my doctor's like, there's no way to tell, like, because we can't say that you're required to wear them, because if you have a day that you're not required to wear them and you get pulled over, then you could get in trouble.
No, I meant but the eye color though, specifically.
It says blue.
There you go, guys. Leave her alone. Yeah, it's blue.
It says blue because the eye color is put on your on your driver's license when you first get your driver's license when you're 16 years old, which is prior to me having this.
But some days you do have blue eyes, so.
Yes, some days I do. Some days are green, some days are gray.
That is hilarious to me. So, but officially, according to South Carolina, you've got blue eyes.
According to Dad Bod, I have green.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, we're still waiting on a permission slip from him, so.
I'll let you know in 5 days.
Okay. All right. I think that's fair.
Well, actually, I'll let you know in 5 days after it releases when I have to have my side comment on TikTok and get everybody to rally around me and support.
Oh my God. Yeah. You're going to post a video that people are going to tag me. What happened? What is up with you and these women coming on your podcast? I'm like, shit. I don't even know. I don't know.
Great prank joke.
Oh, I hope I doubt she will. She's a pretty busy lady. I don't think Emily's going to watch this episode, but hopefully if she does, she can take a little joke. By the time this posts, it'll be like October, and I think she'll have a little bit of time to heal a little bit. All right, Tammy, that's all the questions I have. You want to plug your stuff? Where can people find you?
They can find me on TikTok at Manicured Mom. They can find me on Instagram at _manicuredmom.com, and they can find my blog at themanicuredmom.com.
Perfect. And I will put all these
merch line one of these days.
What's that?
I said I'm about to release a merch line one of these days. I am a graphic designer, but the King of Dad Bod t-shirt is for sale on there.
Oh, hell yes.
Yeah.
Oh, I hope you give him a cut.
He got the first shirt. I made it for him for Father's Day as a joke.
Genius. I love it. All right, Tammy, it was great having you on.
It was great. It was great to talk to you.
All right. We'll talk to you later.
Have a good night.
Tammy, thanks for coming on the show. I really appreciate it. I think a lot of men really appreciate the message that you're putting out there, and you really shouldn't focus on the negative, naysayers from the feminists or these MGTOW guys that are living in their grandma's basement that have completely given up on women. You're doing great. I love the message you're putting out there. I think we're eventually going to start seeing some positive change in this world with some of these laws that are unfavorable to men. One quick note for the people listening. She's a really cool lady, Tammy. After the interview was over, we sat around chatted on Zoom for like another hour or so. She's a really cool person. You should definitely follow her. I'll put a link to her TikTok and Instagram accounts in the show notes. All right, guys. We'll catch you next week. Thank you for listening to Come On Man. If you are new to the podcast, I highly recommend reading How to Be a 3% Man by Corey Wayne at least 10 to 15 times. I recommend you watch his coaching videos on YouTube, and I recommend that you engage with other 3% men in our 3% Man Facebook group. Links to all of these are in the show notes. If you like this episode, please give us a good rating on your favorite podcast platform of choice and share with all your bros. Now go out and get it.